I think I will get an agreement when I say I have not talked to any non-partisan, non-serious partisan lawyer who tells me that there is a significant case here against James Comey or a winnable case. Did we learn anything today that changes that?
I don't think we saw anything that changes the overall trajectory of this case. I think what we did see, and again, I would put this in the category of unsurprising, is that the defense is going after this indictment very aggressively. They signaled today—
What does that mean?
They're going to try to knock it out before this case comes anywhere close to a jury. They're going to try to knock it out, number one, on grounds that this is a vindictive prosecution. Number two, that the U.S. attorney was unlawfully appointed. So you could see Comey saying, look, you know, bring it on. I'll try my hand before the jury, and maybe it'll come to that. But what we're going to see—
He doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to go anywhere near the jury, and so they're going to be making very aggressive efforts to persuade this federal judge to throw out that indictment before it gets close to a jury.
Anything about the Judge Shan Wu who appointed him past look at the Trump administration's viewpoints on things?
No, nothing too out of the ordinary, although one of his remarks I thought was a classic Eastern District of Virginia rocket docket remark, which was they're talking about the question of using any classified information, which is a notorious way to slow things down for the defense, conceivably. And one of the things they said was, if you think you're going to slow things down with what they call the SEPA work, he says you're in for a surprise, because basically it'll be the fastest SEPA hearing you've ever had. So the judge is signaling, no nonsense, we're going full speed ahead.
You've got this juxtaposition, right? Because Comey in his Instagram video was basically like, bring it on, let's go, can't wait. Publicly, and his lawyers are doing things a little differently. Is that?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think it's fascinating, as Tom was saying, the way they're coming after the indictment, because these are usually defenses that are doomed to failure. Vindictive prosecution, selective prosecution, government's outrageous conduct. But here, like we discussed in previous shows, there's an amazing amount of public statements by the White House that can be used here. So it's going to be like a little bit of a textbook case to watch all these motions come at the government and see how they do.
So much has been made by Trump supporters, including those who were targeted for prosecution by the Biden DOJ, of how James Comey was treated, very different than, say, Steve Bannon. Take a listen.
I got breaking news. They slipped Comey in through another entrance so he didn't have to come through here. This is bullshit. This is the problem. The problem is the system is rigged on these guys' side. Okay? It's got to stop. Is Comey going to be shackled? Is Comey going to be strip searched? Why? Comey's there for felonies.
Tom, we have any insight into those questions?
Well, look, I think one thing I think all of us should be able to agree on is that regardless of political party, if you should not be doing things like, you know, perp walks, strip search, all of those things if it's not required, if it's not necessary for a matter of security. And so to the extent that the Biden administration subjected defendants to those sorts of things for PR purposes, to score political points, to get good visuals, it was totally inappropriate. The fact that they didn't perp walk Comey, I mean, honestly, that's somewhat of a credit to the White House, and that they didn't demand that they wanted these visuals, that they wanted all of this, and they treated him maybe in a way that was justified by the lack of security concern.
I think if they tried to do the perp walk, which I'm sure some people would like to do, they might have faced a little bit of pushback from an FBI agent with that. I think there's an interesting undercurrent here, which is how the career FBI agents feel about the fact that a former director who was fairly popular within the agency is being prosecuted. So that's something that DOJ may have to be sensitive to.
Probably the only place that James Comey may be popular is inside the DOJ. He is not popular with either political party. Gentlemen, thank you very much.